Hello guys, welcome to Learn from Chess Blitz, a live stream which gives you an opportunity to learn something new about chess while playing against me. So after some break we come back to live streaming. If you're new to this stream, if you're new to the show, we are playing on lichess.org. You can go there and challenge me for a 5-minute game. You can find me by the nickname Mostrovsky. The spelling is the same as in the short link leading to my YouTube channel. You can find this link next to my name on your screen. So you can see Andrei Ostrovsky, then support is welcome. And then there is a short link bit.ly/Mostrovsky. I can also suggest you to subscribe to my channel and activate the reminder so that you will be notified every time when I'm online. So I already said that in the description to this live stream. So yesterday I was actually participating in lichess autumn marathon. It was an interesting event. It took 24 hours to finish the tournament. That's why it was a marathon, by the way. Of course, I didn't play all these 24 hours, so I kind of spent several hours, and I finished 5th, which is probably not a great success, but taking into account that my winning rate was like more than 80% and the berserk rate was like more than 60%, it was kind of the result, I think. So let's go and start playing. We already have some challenges, so I hope you will enjoy the show. Let's see. So the first is Azure Mist. I'm happy you're here. And we start with black pieces. Okay. So if compared to Experimental Monday that will take place also tomorrow, in the Sunday edition of Learn from Chess Blitz, I usually play normal openings, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I always play e5. So I want to try Sicilian in this game. Here we go. Knight f3, and let's say just e6. d4 takes, and for example a6 now. So the point behind this is to grab the space on the queen side, which is the side where black usually plays if he plays Sicilian. If compared to other lines, in this one black plays in a rather aggressive way. So as you can see, white didn't play a4, preventing b5. Black actually used this opportunity and played b7, b5, already having the pawn there, being ready to play b4, just kicking the knight c3 away from the center. Another idea behind having the pawn on b5 is of course to control c4 square. So just let me know if everything is okay with the stream, I mean the sound, the picture, and so forth. Yeah. So, white decided to focus on development, which is, I think, a normal strategy here. Now I believe black has several options. Simple knight f6 move, queen to c7 should be playable. Queen to b6 or bishop c5 also deserve attention. Let's try this queen c7 move. I believe it is a flexible decision, a flexible move. So queen anyway occupies this square sooner or later. Now my queen controls diagonal b8, h2, and black is ready to play even bishop to d6 at some point, attacking h2. One of interesting ideas here is not to hurry up with the castling short, and maybe to provoke something like g3 move, where after it will be possible to attack this pawn with the h5, h4. But I have to be careful, of course, because if I play bishop d6 and don't have kind of possibility to take on h2 with check, there is a tactical solution for white, like bishop takes b5, knight takes b5, attacking the queen, and my bishop on d6 drops. So bishop e3, alright, still just continuing development process and occupying very natural position. Another idea behind queen c7 is actually to control e5. square, which means now I can put my knight on f6 without much worrying, because there is no e5. I can take it with the queen. So I don't have to think of where my knight should go after e4, e5, which could have been the case one move ago, when my queen was still on d8. And now if white creates a threat of e5 playing, let's say, f4, I can simply play d6, I think, having this typical Scheveningen setup in the center. The difference is that my pawn is on b5, and the Scheveningen pawn remains on b7 for a long time. Bishop rarely goes to b7, instead it goes to d7 first. So maybe it is one of the ideas here, just to actually achieve the Scheveningen setup, but slightly more active if compared to classics. So now, I guess if I want, I can try even something like h5, preparing knight g4. It's kind of typical idea here. Let's say if white plays h3, it can be possible even to play knight g4. Maybe not immediately, but at some point. So also typical idea. Yeah. All right. So what can I do alternatively? Simple bishop e7, I think. Or maybe bishop d6, but if bishop d6 here, there is f4. Which is potentially annoying. So bishop e7 followed by d6, knight e7 should be also just a good idea for black. Why not? Let's try it. So just bishop e7, continuing development, preparing castling and so forth. Alright, so there is kind of threat of e5. It's not necessarily very dangerous, because black has a chance to play knight e5 or something. But I don't think it is a good idea to give white a chance to grab the space this way, so I'll just play d6. I don't think e5 is something, so e5 takes e5, takes e5, queen takes e5, and then if bishop f4, then d4 knight is hanging, so looks like e5 is not dangerous. At least it is not a threat right away. So I have some time to complete my development, just to play knight e7. Knight c6 is also an option, but if the pawn is already on b5, I think it makes sense for me to play knight d7, intent in something like knight c5, or maybe even knight b6, knight c4. So just imagine the bishop is not on d3 but on b3 or a2. If black plays this way, then bishop e6, typical sacrifice, is possible. But here bishop is on d3, so I'm not afraid of that. Okay, bishop f2, e5 is still not a threat, I think, so I can simply castle. If e5, d takes, f takes, I can take with the queen, exchanging queens. So yeah, let's castle. Simply. Rook e1, kind of straightforward play, just preparing e5. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe not. Let's see. So what if I just play knight c5 here? I think it is absolutely playable move. So knight c5, intending to grab the bishop if the position becomes open. So if white plays e5, I can just go away with the knight, maybe even to d7. And then at some point I just take that bishop, and I think there is no serious attack on the king side without that bishop. I might be wrong though, but at the moment I don't think this is a bad strategy for black. So to play knight e5 or knight e7, there is an interesting question. Not quite sure which one is better. Knight e5 is a tempo move, so yeah, kind of attack f4. Let's see if white has something with the help of bishop h7, king h7, queen h5, king g8, then rook goes to the third. This can be potentially dangerous, but I have f7, f5 move at some point. I don't think that is something. So let's just play knight e5. Alright, very aggressive, but I don't think it is correct, to be honest. So now I can take on e5 to start with. Now bishop d6 looks very good. Don't know, or just queen a5, simplifying everything. Let's take here. Bishop d6 was probably much better. But I like the idea of just simplification here, because without queens, I think white doesn't have anything serious. Moreover, now I have pair of bishops, which is also great. But I have some serious problems with the time, right? Only 30 seconds, so I have to be faster. All right, let's take this. Extra exchange. Knight is forced to c6 now. Okay, let's take it. There was probably something more convincing than that, but I think it is also absolutely enough. Just good enough. Further simplification. Need to be faster. Let's activate the rook now. It's time. Just a preparation of the b3, b2. Yeah, position is absolutely lost. The problem here is that, well, it's clear white doesn't have resources to stop my pawn, and there is no sufficient counterplay on the king side or something. So let's have a look quickly on what happened here. I think that in the sense of opening, there is a better way for white to play. Of course, knight c3 is absolutely playable line, but I personally prefer playing bishop d3 here, because if black plays something like b5 against bishop d3, white has more chances to undermine this pawn with the knight still on b1. So, for example, after a4, b4, and c3, not necessarily just right away, but even right away is just okay. I really like the idea of just opening the position slightly on the queen side. So sometimes it leads to damaging of the pawn structure on the queen side, but white compensates this with the help of just very active and fast play with the pieces. Because one of the main drawbacks behind black's setup here is that black makes just a lot of pawn moves in the opening stage, so it becomes very natural to try to open up a position. So usually we try to do what? To open up a position against the king, to come up with the attack against the king. But even if you simply open up a position somewhere and then just start playing quickly and create a lot of threats, for example, on the queen side after occupying the c file, it is also an interesting strategy. And if black is not well developed and prepared for this, you just gain a lot. So with the knight on b1, I mean, it's easier to undermine this b5 pawn, so a4, b4, c3, something like that. I usually like to come up with something like this against this when I play with white, but knight c3 is also playable. I mean, b5, bishop d3, bishop b7, I do believe one of the popular opening lines here. And once again, I think an interesting idea is just to undermine the pawn. So just a4, and if b4, then knight goes to e2. And the point is that the knight is being maneuvered to g3 and maybe even to h5. An interesting transformation of the position. So just imagine when the knight is on f6, this knight through g3 goes to h5, white simply exchanges the main defender of the king side and has more chances to come up with the attack there. But even if there is no knight h5, the knight on g3 is very useful and very helpful in the sense of just protecting e4 pawn, additionally supporting f4 and f5, something like that. So another plan is just to try the c3 again and so forth. So that is, in my opinion, the best plan for white. After queen c7, bishop e3, and knight f6, as we may notice now, b4 becomes a threat, so e4 becomes an object of attack. And a3 is slightly passive, so I believe it is still playable and still okay, but if compared to normal Scheveningen, as I said before, black is much more flexible because first of all, bishop is already on b7, pawn is not on b6 but on b5, very active setup. And my knight is not on c6 but on d7, so I have, if compared to classic Scheveningen, more options like knight c5, knight b6 followed by knight c4, and so on. I still think that it is playable for white, but I don't think that queen e2 was the right place for queen. I would prefer something like f3 square with the queen. So d2 is not very good. I mean, queen should go to f3. And then rook goes to e1, and from f3 this queen can be maneuvered somewhere to h3 just to have this h7 under attack, and white's e4, e5 in this case becomes much more dangerous. That's the point. Now, but well, it's not clear if the bishop on e3 is placed good. So usually if you want to come up with this setup against e6, d6, then probably bishop is better placed than d2 because it doesn't cover the e-file. So rook e1 becomes in this case just a direct threat of e4, e5. So just a couple of advices. All right. So yeah, thanks for the game. Let us continue. The second challenger was Kramnik Student. So let's play Kramnik Student. The next is Nefedov. If I'm not mistaken, just let me see. Yeah, Nefedov is the next one. And in this game, I play with white pieces. Let's play e4. So there will be a Sicilian, I do believe. Yep. So maybe now I will be forced to show something against Najdorf. Alright, so usually Kramnik Student prefers setups with e7, e6. So how to react to this? Let's try h3. So I've played a lot of games with bishop c4, with bishop e2. Let's play h3. Preparing g4, but knight c6. Alright, so it's kind of a mix of classic Sicilian and at the same time the Najdorf setup with a6, d6. But after knight c6, most likely black won't play e5, so there will be e6. So this most likely leads to just a Scheveningen setup after e6. An interesting thing, if I can do something like bishop e3, queen d2 castles here. Because usually bishop e3 is bad against classical Sicilian. I mean, the same like here, but without a6 and h3. So inclusion of the h3 makes bishop e3 possible because there is no knight g4 followed by queen b6 anymore. Alright. So let's try. That's interesting. It's kind of a mix of different ideas, but let's have a look at this. That is blitz, so we are allowed to do strange things if we want. And now let's go attacking this, right? f4, g4. b4 is an annoyance threat here because e4 is not well protected. So I think it makes sense for me to play a3. Usually there is no problem with this move. So now, can I play just g4? I think I can. Let's do it. And g5 even. And f5, right? Will be just a natural follow-up of all this story. Yeah, let's go. The only issue with this is that black can take on f5, in fact. And maybe that is something that I simply underestimated. But after e takes f5, I have knight d5, bishop d5, queen d5, which leads to not very clear position, but at least I will have pair of bishops maybe to compensate it, more or less, but maybe it will be not enough. Don't know, simply don't know. So yeah, maybe it was better for me, a safer option, just to start with rook g1 or something. Because now it's definitely not that clear. And it feels like I don't have anything better than knight d5, but let's check. For example, bishop d3 looks just awful. Bishop g2 doesn't actually create a threat. So yeah, let's play knight e5. I don't see anything better. Let's do it. Now f5 is under attack. I have pair of bishops. My light squared bishop has no counterpart. So potentially I should have some initiative if I can create anything along the dark squares. Oh, sorry, light squares. But it's not necessary that I can create some threats. But now, okay, let's play bishop d3. Now if black takes on e4, I take with the queen attacking the bishop and h7 simultaneously. That is why I think it was better for black to start with f takes e4 when that bishop was still on f1. And f5 is still hanging, so of course the best option for me is just to take it with the pawn, because in this case I will have this breakthrough with the help of f5, f6 at some point. But taking with the queen can be also like a possibility, but I definitely like this e takes f5 much more. Alright, so I whose x is here. Don Gravelle, great. Temba Maluleke. I'm sorry if I pronounce this incorrect. Just say a lot of new guys in live chat. Andre D is here. Cool. All right. Knight to e5. So is there a threat? If I take on f5 with the pawn now, and knight takes on d3, okay, I just take with the queen protecting c2. Maybe it's not the position I wanted to achieve, but okay, after I blundered e takes f5, it looks like a lesser evil. So let's take. So now I'm forced to take with the queen, of course. My bishop is still better than this one on e7, because this one on e7 is seriously limited with the own pawn and with the g5. Queen c4, intending to simplify a position, but maybe taking into account the difference in the power of bishops, I'm not that against, honestly speaking. But I definitely don't want to take on c4, I want rather black to take on d3. So what do I have here? What could be a useful move? Okay, queen a2 is a threat, so if I don't want to take on c4, I have to play king b1, I think. Now let's try king b1. Yeah, position is still complicated, and I have only what? Not so much time, that's what I wanted to say. Only 1 minute, to be precise. Annoying thing. So h4 protecting g5 because I want to occupy d4 square with my bishop. Just like that. Okay. Good bishop, right? Very good one. Not clear, however, if I can benefit from it. Now it's time. All right. So let's do something like this, protecting the bishop. Maybe it was not necessary because of this attack against f5 now. It's not clear what is my plan, to be honest. So let's say, what can I achieve here? Alright, let's play f6 and see. So potentially I can probably like penetrate somewhere, but at the moment it's not clear for me where. So the E file is kind of interesting to try anything, but Black actually has a very clear plan now. Simple one. Yeah, just A3 is coming. My god, this looks annoying. This looks really annoying. I don't know what to do here, so it looks like I'm just outplayed. Alright. Let's keep it as a fact. Of course I'm not worse, but only 13 seconds, come on, it's not possible to survive it. But this, I'm really surprised. So I have only one weakness, but Black has a serious one on D5 here. I mean, something like this, but well, it's not serious, of course. Yeah, I take the draw because I have only 5 seconds, and obviously speaking, of course, I'm not better here. Maybe even slightly worse, but I think if Black starts something like this, I can also come up with sort of counterplay based on this pawns, and potentially my pawns are much more dangerous because, well, they're just almost there, I mean, on the back rank. So, well, very interesting games. Thanks for this. Yeah, it was a real fight. I think I actually overestimated my possibilities somewhere here. So after bishop e7, to start with, I don't think that f4 was the precise way to start this initiative on the king side. Maybe g4 was a correct way to do that, just to play quickly g5, because it's not necessarily that I need a pawn on f4. Maybe it's better for me to try something like h4, h5, g6 instead. But okay, f4 is more or less playable, more or less fine. b5, a3, bishop b7, g4. By the way, here it was interesting to try something like knight takes d4, because e4 pawn is under attack and looks like I have to take with the queen, which gives Black an opportunity to come up with this typical central blow, e6, e5, and this breaks my nice looking pawns here. All right, that was an interesting try, but well, what Black played was also not bad, but the only issue that Black gives me a lot of space. And yeah, here, of course, f5 followed by f6 looks really natural, and probably just the best option for White, but not f5 right now. So I should have prepared that because of this threat of knight takes d4, and I guess the natural way to do this is just to play rook g1, going away in advance from this pin, along diagonal a8, h1, and now I'm ready to go. So rook g1 is not a waste of time, because my threat of f5, f6 becomes even stronger after that, when my rook is already on g1. And this definitely prepares f5, and I don't think Black has a good way to prevent it unless he plays knight e4 and again comes up with this e5. But here it is a slightly different situation. So I take on d4, most likely with the queen, just to have more options after e5. Now I can take on e5, of course, but after knight e5, Black achieves his ideal setup here. So I guess it's better for me to play something like maybe queen to d2, or maybe d3 even. Okay, let's try queen d2, takes f4, knight e5. Alright, this also looks absolutely safe for Black, so this knight on e5 is really great. Just covering everything here. So maybe, yeah, maybe rook g1 is nothing. So how to prevent all this? Maybe just going away with the knight. There was also an interesting idea. Just to prevent knight d4, this typical operation in the center. Of course, it looks slightly passive. I mean, the move like knight b3 or something. On the other hand, so well, after knight b3, there is no longer this knight e4 followed by e5, and I'm ready to play f5 followed by f6. And taking into account that Black's attack takes the time on the queen side, I mean, something like b4 takes b4, knight b4 doesn't achieve anything right away. So Black still has to do a lot, like something like that, to open up a position, while I can open up this position faster, I think, because even a5, the first step towards this a4, a3 plan, is not that clear in the view of knight b5 followed by knight d6 maybe. But I may be wrong again, so this position again looks very, very good for black, very safe. So I still can't play f5 because after e takes f5 there is a problem with my rook on h1. Don't like it. Yeah, so maybe black is okay. Maybe not, I don't know. If I play just rook g1, that is an interesting question. So a5, intending a4, a3 quickly. What can I do? Knight b5 is an interesting try, but c2 is also under fire, so after something like queen c6, or maybe just queen c8, I can't take on d6, bishop d6, queen d6, and checkmate on c2. So a4 is coming, d5 is coming, which is also very annoying. So not clear. Maybe everything is fine for black here. Very complicated position. Thanks for this fight. Thanks for this fight. Maybe this h3, f4, g4 is just simply too slow in general. Don't know. All right, let's go further. And Nifudov is the next. Let's play. And again with white. Okay, e4. Let's keep playing active chess. Of course I could have played better when black gave me a chance to actually have this f5, g5 against the bishop on e7. I think after queen c4 I should have captured immediately without this king b1. It didn't really help me. I took on c4 later, just several moves after that, and queen c4 immediately could simply give me some very important time for quick moves like rook d4, maybe simplifying position a bit or something like that. Maybe even f6 was possible after that. I don't know. It's worth proper analysis. Yeah, I think queen c4 followed by f6 was the most promising. With the rook on f8, this kind of forces black to take on f6, gf6, bishop f6, rook takes d6, attacking the bishop and pawn on a6 with the advantage for white. All right. So f5, Janisch gambit or counter gambit, don't remember the name. d5, okay, one of the main lines here. But I guess knight f6 is more popular nowadays. So this is an old line, very old one, and white should be slightly better there. So it takes here, knight takes c6 now. Queen to g5, attacking my bishop b5. Main move here is queen to e2. So knight f6 is also the main line. And now we start with knight e5 check. c6 is the reply, where after white starts active operations in the center like f4, d4, and so forth. So I mean, it's not a blunder. After c6 I play f4 protecting my knight e5. E4 takes f3 is not possible because knight takes back on f3 with a check from the queen to the king and attack against queen g5. And if queen takes f4, then d4 again, the same thing. So materially position is balanced. Black has this pawn on e4, which some people think is a weakness, some people think it's just the power potentially. So everything of course depends on what both sides do. Everything depends on the future play. Okay, hey chat, hello Andre from Fuxia. Hello Fuxia, I'm happy you're here. So check. Black is thinking. Black is quite slow here. Oh, I didn't realize then Don G is here as well. Great. Very nice. So, I don't understand really what Black is thinking of, because c6 is kind of only move, if I'm not mistaken. Because king d8, knight f7, king e7 is just ugly as it could be. And putting the bishop on d7 leads to immediate disaster after knight d7, knight e7, queen e4, something like this. So two bishops, two extra pawns in fact. So c6 is the only move. Alright. Yeah. Okay. So f4. And queen h4 immediately without taking on f4. Alright, g3 then. Oh, it's also playable, of course. I mean, black gets some compensation for a missing pawn, but I always thought that taking on f4 is the move, the main one. Now, okay, and now my bishop can go to c4. I was always curious if I can take on c6 in this situation, but I don't remember. Probably there is a refutation, so it's not that great to calculate anything this related, but it can be also possible to take on c6. Let's have a look at that. So knight takes c6, b6, bishop c6. King goes away somewhere. Bishop takes a8, something like bishop g4, attacking my queen. And there may be quick disaster on light squares. Maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, I'll just go back to c4. Maybe I'm wrong here already. Okay, h5 gives me a chance to check the king on f7. I think it deserves serious attention. So why not, after all, just to play bishop f7, check. Where the king goes, first question, to e7, well, I'm happy. If it happens, if king d8, then king is simply very ugly there. Yeah, let's put the bishop on f7, should be great. King d8. Okay, and now, for example, something like d3 looks really promising. Just undermining the pawn e4 and opening up a position slightly. Should be just okay. So I want to take on e4 then, something like check along the d file. Or maybe I just want to play something like bishop e3 and castles. Or maybe even bishop d2 will be okay for me. And castles long. I guess I should be fine here. Alright, h4. Okay, there is this red of h takes g3. But what about just rook g1? Is it that bad? I think it's okay. Because I anyway want to castle the other side. Bishop c5. Okay, now I have two options. Just a normal bishop e3 move, which I don't see... why it should be bad. Or just d4, also an interesting option, but after d4 bishop can go away somewhere and while position remains closed. So I think I'll just play bishop e3. Because it just makes me closer to my dream position after castling long. This knight on e5 is very strong cover in g4, which is very important because black doesn't have this tricks with knight g4, bishop g4. Well, these moves are playable, but I mean, I can just take those pieces and I'm fine. Alright, queen takes e3. Now my queen is ready to go here on d4. I mean, if nothing else works. But my main idea is, of course, just to castle here. What happened? Queen takes h2, right? Okay, so castles, just to protect the rook and to create a threat that d takes e4. Because queen d4 doesn't necessarily give me anything concrete. Yeah, so I'll just start with castling. The question from Azure missed. I didn't see how d4 was defended. D4, bishop d4, and queen goes to the d file, attacking the bishop simply. And then c3 is coming, just grabbing that guy. Maybe I missed something concrete against that, but it felt like I can win that bishop on d4 because of the pin on the d file. That was the point. Alright, so it feels like after queen d3 there should be very quick checkmate. There should be very quick checkmate somewhere. Let's say queen d6, king b6, knight c4. King goes where? To b5 most likely, a4, something like that. I don't even want to calculate it. So the point is that I have queen a3 check in addition to everything. So yeah, what about just a4? Well, knight on c4 is protected by my bishop f7. King a6 was possible, shit. Probably a4 wasn't that great. But okay, now I think I have the checkmate finally. Let's see. Queen a3, king b5, queen b3, king goes to c5. Okay. Not that simple, so probably knight to b6 instead. Knight to b6, king also can go to b5. Alright, how to do this? It's strange, but black is still fighting. Alright, let's do this. And queen a5, come on. I'm just blind, sorry. that was very stupid. So I mean, after king b5 I was somehow calculating only queen b3, but there was queen a5, of course. My goodness, yeah. It's a checkmate in 2. Alright, so I have a feeling that everything is quite simple, so I don't believe in the power of this line with queen h4 immediately. Of course it is a playable move, and it is the second popular choice here, just because black doesn't have anything better than queen f4 and queen h4. But I still think that queen f4 is better here, so queen takes f4, d4, then queen h4, g3, queen h3. So we have actually the same position, but without the extra pawn for white. On the other hand, if black plays with queen h4 immediately here, of course I don't have the pawn on d4, and my bishop is not that active because f4 is kind of limited. But in any case, I think this line is not very cool. Alright. Let's go further. So we have 5 challenges, and who's next? Who is next? Well, let's play just, well, drunken lawyer. I think that I know who's this guy. But we have never played before. We played neither here in lichess nor in chess 24, so it would be interesting to see what's going on here. Wasn't b3 mate? b3 allowed king to b5. So queen a3, queen a5 was just the best option. Just like I played, I just didn't see queen a5 somehow. Don't know why. Alright, so what do we have here? We have 4 knights. No, Scotch. Transposition to one of the lines. So bishop c5 and bishop b4 are 2 main moves here. So let's play standard bishop b4. Knight c6, b c6, bishop d3. Castles. I usually try to castle first prior to play d7, d5. Andre, how did your marathon end? I finished 5th on the 5th place. Unfortunately, didn't play many games, as many as the guys who's just occupied first 3 or even 4 places. So it felt like they did a real marathon, like from the very start till the very end, like playing almost all this 24 hours. Just amazing. That is not for me. Maybe one day I will do this, but for now it looks a crazy idea. Okay, so knight to e2, immediately going away with the knight prior to queen f3 or h3 or anything else. That is something new to me, because I'm used to this queen f3 idea, just exerting pressure on my knight f6, trying to sort of damage my pawn structure. So maybe that is a portion of good news, but the main idea behind knight e2 is probably just to put the knight on d4, attacking my c6. Alright, so should I prevent it or not, and could I prevent it if I want to prevent it? So if I play c5, something like that, this just limits my bishop b4 seriously. No, I don't like this idea. Also an interesting question, should I include h6 move here or not? I don't think I should. So most likely just bishop d6 or maybe bishop e7, just a safer option, supporting my knight f6 and making my queen free to maneuver somewhere. Okay. So bishop d6. I think this should be okay, but I'm not quite sure what am I going to do against knight d4. Knight d4. Alright, knight c6 is not necessarily a threat because of bishop h2 and queen d6, but this leads to a different pawn structure. Bishop takes h2, king h2, knight g4, queen g4, bishop g4, bishop d8 leaves me without a piece. So it's not a good idea. I can protect c6 with the help of bishop d7, so I think I should do it right now. Queen f3. Creating a threat of bishop takes f6, but I can parry this threat, at least for now, with the help of bishop e5, I believe. Attacking the knight and protecting my knight on f6. And I start feeling that I should have rather included this h6 move, in fact. Because now if white goes crazy, like knight f5 or something, it will be very complicated for me to play this h6. But okay, white decided to play this instead, which gives me some time. Alright. Yeah, it gives me a chance to play queen c7, it gives me a chance to play h6 now. I'll try h6 right now. Okay. Let's take it. No time for anything else. I mean, no time on the clock. Have to be fast. Have to be just fast. So c5 looks logical. Then queen goes to b6 after some simplifications. Alright. Let's attack b2. Then rook to d8, probably d4. Something like that. So that is my only active plan here. I think black should be fine here. So white was slightly passive at some point, giving me a chance to solve my problems. Alright, let's take it. It can't be that great. I guess I can simply take this. Rook b8. a5. Active play. Maybe it was better for me not to take on b4, just to play queen c7 was also a playable alternative. Most likely it was better than taking on b4 and kind of solving white's problem with the c3 pawn. Do know. In any case, let's play. So, what to do now? What to do now? Should be quick. Should be fast. Not sure how to play this. Very strong opposition today. Very, very strong. All these guys are kind of underrated. I feel this. Okay, I don't think I have something here, so I'll offer a draw. Feels like white should be slightly better here. Maybe inclusion of the rook to c1 was better for white at some point. Maybe it's still playable, I mean. I'm going to lose this on time, I think. Alright. We'll fight till the end. Yeah. Okay, so this line is considered to be like drawish, and we actually proved this. Alright, the only interesting moment was here after knight e4, bishop d7, and queen f3. So after bishop b5, I think that white could have achieved more with the help of knight f5. That's why probably after knight e2, it was better for me to start with the h6. Because now I do believe that h6 is bad. I'm not sure if white can prove it just immediately, but there should be something after sacrifice on h6. I can't believe that this is possible for black to play this, giving white so many pieces attacking my king. But maybe h6 is still I don't know. Even after bishop h4 simply, this knight on f5 is so annoying. The main point why I didn't like this line is that after bishop f5 and queen f5, now there is a simple threat of just taking here and queen h7 at the same time it is the attack against my bishop. So I don't have the time to play either g6 or maybe bishop somewhere, because if g6, queen takes e5, if I protect my bishop or do something with my bishop, then bishop f6 and queen h7. So it's not necessarily an immediate loss. For example, after rook e8 takes, it's not a checkmate, but it's already an extra pawn for white. So I know I'm in position, and my king starts traveling around the board, which is not very good, not very inspiring. So that's why I think it was better for me to keep the bishop on b4 here and to start with the h6 move. And after bishop h4, maybe even just bishop to e7. I mean, just solving the problem of this pin. And if knight e4, then something like queen b6 is possible, just attacking this knight, pawn on b2, which means that probably this knight e4 is not that great immediately. But the knight on d4 isn't hanging because of bishop h7 check, so I can simply protect the pawn with the b3, right? Yeah, but then I just play c5, something like we did in the game, or maybe a5, trying to play a4. We have this typical position for this line, and white should be slightly better. Usually that is the result of the opening, like just a very tiny advantage, something like that. Of course, at the end, somewhere here, not at the end, but yeah, in the middle game, after all these simplifications, after all these exchanges, b4 looked strange to me. So I took on b4, but it wasn't necessarily the best move. Maybe just a5 was better, exerting additional pressure on this pawn. But after this and queen b4, I definitely shouldn't take on b4. I should have played something like, I don't know, queen c6 maybe, or queen c7. Just going away, controlling c4 square, exerting pressure on c3, intending to come up with just attack against this pawn later. It won't be probably that easy, because bishop still controls this c8, but I can try g6, just getting rid of this bishop later on. Maybe there was a possibility to play rook b8 with the same idea, so to force white to take and to keep these pawns on the board. Because I have a feeling that white will have more problems protecting this c3 and a2 if compared to my a7 and d5, because of the simple reason c3 occupies the dark square and the bishop can't protect it, while my pawn d5 can be protected by the knight. That's the idea. So something like that definitely should have been played. Instead I took on b4, and after this, well, of course, a3 wasn't necessary, so white could have played, for example, rook b1. And if I play a5, there is b5, very annoying. So this bishop is great at supporting past pawns and controlling the situation on both flanks. I like this position for white, and this slight majority on the queen side. Not on the queen side, but if we talk about the A and B files, right, 2 against 1 was probably an interesting thing. So after a3, all right, I just play a5, rook b1. Well, it should be just equal. I mean, there is nothing for both sides. Okay. Let's go further. So a lot of different challenges. So let's play our knight 3 plus 2. So it's not like 3 minutes, but also an interesting control, just like from the yesterday's marathon. e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4. So what do we have here? Knight f6, knight c3, g6. Okay, dragon, bishop e2. I usually play this rock solid line against dragon to eliminate attacks, tactics, and just to play pure positional chess. So constant followers just know this story. I've played this line many times. So b5 now. There are two approaches. The one is just to play bishop g5. Another one is to play a4 and to play knight e5 after b4, which I believe black's best choice here. So, pawn b5 is under fire, and it's better for black, I think, to play b4, because b takes a4. Well, it's also playable, also possible, but a6 becomes not an easy prey, but very simple target. I mean, after rook takes a4, black will definitely experience some problems protecting this pawn. Bishop b7, okay. So now knight d5 looks even stronger than before, because if knight e5, e5, I get the access to a5 square. Let's play this knight e5. And my rook controls b4 square, which eliminates the possibility of knight e5, e5, and knight b4, which is also great. So I start exerting pressure on black's position in the center. If there is a possibility, I will of course add the bishop to g5 with pleasure. Let's see. Knight e7. Alright, going away and intending to play something like knight b6 maybe. Okay, should I prevent this or not? I think I have no choice, because if I play something like c3 now, there is knight b6. If I play bishop b3, bishop can probably just capture on b2. I'm not sure, but maybe there I can just trap it after c3, so maybe bishop b2 is not that great in general. So maybe I can even try bishop g5 now because of this. Interesting position. Don't know. There is of course just something simple like rook a2 just going away, but I don't want to go away. I just want to improve my position even more. Now let's try bishop g5. This should be potentially promising. At least, if black plays something like h6, I just go back to e3, controlling b6, and this h6 becomes my target as well. And if black now takes on b2, I think I have c3, which can be potentially very annoying. No, black decided not to take these risks. I mean, so this gives me some time to do something with my rook. Yeah, but I can't see what can I do instead of playing just c3. Let's play c3. Protecting the squares, protecting the long diagonal, and controlling b4 and d4 squares. So now, if black plays knight b6, I can just go with the rook to a2, be not afraid of this knight b4 jump after knight takes d5, e5. In which case, after knight e5, e5, the knight is forced somewhere to the very ugly position. And nothing really changes if compared to the knight on f6, so now it's just transferred to b6, and I don't think that it is a better place for the knight. Okay. So already my position looks very pleasant, because I control a lot of squares, and knight c5 damages the pawn structure, so I can take on c5, and I will take on c5. And now I'll just go here, because my target is the pawn a6. And if it goes to a5, black just weakens a lot of light squares. And I guess I can bring the bishop to b5, creating some threats to e7 pawn as well. Also, we shouldn't forget about something like, oh, f6. No, it can't be good. It can't be good. Just bishop e3 attacking this. e6, alright, just weakening a lot. Okay, I'll just go back. It's just a temporal thing, I mean. No, b4. Get into this guy on c5. Bishop c4 was also absolutely playable and great for white. Now let's just take the pawn. I think black's position is simply sad. So full of weaknesses and just a material down. Should be careful though, but I don't think there is a compensation for all these disadvantages. Okay, let's grab this defender. Let's grab this defender off the king side. Now I have to activate my pieces on dark squares and it will lead to disaster. Also, I can combine everything with the simple play on the queen side. Let's take this. I know that it wasn't necessary, but it looks so natural and so tempting that I can't stand. Like, all dark squares are mine. Can't be bad for white. Yeah, lost. So I have too many different threats, and the long-term compensation is here. So this position should be lost. So I don't think b takes a4 is a good idea. I guess that's much better to play b4 here after a4. Or if you don't like the idea of actually damaging your pawn structure, maybe you should avoid playing a6, b5 and rather play a7, b6 setup with the same idea of bringing the bishop to b7 and so forth. Because here, black inevitably experiences some problems with the pawn structure, but b4 is more fighting continuation. It leads to the same after knight e5, I mean same knight in the center and same possibilities of just changing the pawn structure after knight takes d5 and e takes d5, but in my opinion all this in white's favor, so these pawns become potentially vulnerable, but has very simple way of improving the position with the help of bishop g5 and so forth. So I don't think this a6 and b5 is a great idea. I think black should search for a better reaction to this very calm variation. Okay, so let's go further. Here is September 27. Let's play. Very nice nickname. e4. c6, come on, Karakan. All right, let's play this. Question from X under what about a series on training Tuesday about playing on color complexes, how to look at them, etc. Yeah, it's a good idea. I think I will do this later. On what is going on? I can play h5 now, can't I? Yeah, of course, bishop f5 is playable. It's still possible, but I don't think this idea is very good. Yeah, there's even check on a5 if black doesn't want to damage his pawns. After this, I should be definitely much better. The only threat is to overestimate the own position and to start doing the bullshit. But okay, let's just play knight f3. Knight f6. Alright, what about just c3 preparing something like queen b3? Should be good. Bishop e7. Alright, so I can attack pawn f5 if I want. I can grab b7 if I want. What about just straightforward attack against f7 like knight g5, castles and bishop c4, This also looks interesting, but then knight d5 is not clear. Alright, let's forget about this patzer moves. Let's try something solid. But queen b7 doesn't look very solid either. On the other hand, it's just a free pawn hanging on my road. So queen b7 cancels, bishop c4. Can't be punished. I think there is a way for my queen, the way out of there. Simple bishop d3 is not that great. Of course, if black plays in like g6, I'm happy, but there is knight c5 trick, which I don't like. Alright, let's try to go wild a bit and just take on b7. So extra pawn at the moment, but it feels like 2 because of this doubled pawns on a king side. Alright, queen b6 kind of forces me to take on a8. Is it possible to take there though? I'm not sure, but let's try to think. So queen takes a8. What can be wrong potentially with this move? Something like knight b8, but then bishop f4 castles. Alright, I can imagine I can lose my queen there. It's okay. I'm not going to take this rook on a8, I don't need it. I'm okay with just one extra pawn, right? The question is to take on b6, improving black's pawns, or not to take. I think I will take simply. Because this improvement is in fact also a chance for me to have this outside best pawn. So let's keep developing pieces. Just bishop d3 and so forth. f5 is hanging now. So I just developed my bishop, and if g6, by the way, I can take on g6, f takes g6, which is forced, and now g5, knight g5 just intending to get to e6. It looks interesting, because if black castles short, there is bishop c4, if black castles long, there is knight f7. Okay, black plays another move. I guess I can meet this one with the b4. Now black has problems, because if rook goes away from the 5th rank, I can simply grab f5. If the rook remains on the 5th rank, then the only square to occupy is d5, which is very dangerous because I can simply trap it later. For example, the bishop f4, I can't see the way for black, normal way to coordinate the pieces. Unless he plays something like knight f8, but come on, can't be good. Another way to convert it is, of course, just to play a4, a5. Straightforwardly, starting pushing my pawns towards the promotion square. Also a possibility. Okay, rook simply goes back, which gives me this pawn f5. Right? Right. I mean, why not? Pawn is a pawn. So pair of bishops, 2 extra pawns. Should be just a winning position, I believe. Alright, let's do this, because when I see the pawn on b4, there should be pawn on a4 as well. Otherwise, it just irritates me. Not harmonious, I mean. Alright, now on a6, which makes me think of even just taking on e6, creating a weakness. But another way to do this is just to keep developing the pieces. I don't need additional complications. On the other hand, if I castle, there is something like knight takes h5, potentially a 9, slightly. But who cares? Let's castle. If knight takes h5, I just bring my knight to the center, knight e5, attacking c6, which looks very strong. Now let's go to queen. Let's just promote it. One more step towards the a8 square. Knight c7. Okay, one more step. Almost there, right? Almost a queen. Okay. Now my pawn needs a support. So let's put the bishop on e4 and attack this guy on c6. At least deflecting knight c7 from c7 square. Of course, it's lost. So it's clear that, of course, it can't be a good idea to play e6 there. But at least after bishop f5, I mean, after all this, right? And knight takes f5. I think it makes sense to try queen a5, queen takes f5. But this queen can be also potentially a great object of attack for my pieces. So that is also not a good line. So, of course, black has to stick to normal h6 move after h4. So just h6, saving the bishop there for some time. At least not giving white a chance to grab it with the knight, having already a pair of bishops and very good position. Okay, let's play more. Capablanca Century, Bruce Rogers, Atlet, Don Gurev. Capablanca Century. Let's play Capablanca Century. And again with white pieces. Looks like a bug in the system. Again white pieces. Alright. So, different Sicilian with the e5 most likely. No, again dragon. Right. Let's play the same thing. Castles. So we have the same, because black usually plays d6 and we have just a transposition to normal dragon, same line, which I already played today. And bishop e6 is kind of promising move for black. Let's see if he wants to play. No. Black decided to play rook c8. d5 is an interesting continuation here. Very, very interesting one. So now I can do what? I can just bring my bishop to g5, which I usually like to do. Controlling d5 indirectly now, because there is bishop f6. And I want to put my knight on d5 next move. It's a very nice conversation in the live chat. Like Azurmist says that he registered all Chess24 accounts here in lichess and sells them for a small fee. Great. I'm happy that I registered this Mostrovsky before you did that, my friend. So I don't have to pay for this nickname. That's nice. Right, Queen B6 looks like gives me a chance just to play knight E5 now. Knight E5, Bishop D5, E5. What's going on? What is going on? So knight E5, Bishop D5, E5. Probably just knight goes to E5, something like that is planned. There's potentially something with the F2, but I think I have enough resources to protect it. So let's go and play the main move here. But knight b4 might be problematic for me to. No, knight b4 isn't a problem. So let's play knight e5. All right. Yeah, knight is under attack. So knight goes to e5. That is just standard. Now, east knight g4 kind of threat. Attack on f2. I don't think so. What is this queen doing on b6? Just targeting f2. Maybe exerting some pressure along the b file. It is kind of vulnerable if I play bishop e3. I can probably play bishop e3 right now. But then the queen goes where? To c7 maybe, and if I take on a7 there is b6, so I can't win a pawn this way. I can't also play f4 or something. But what I can do here is just to play c3. I think that is the move, just a natural idea when the knight goes away from c3 to play c3 to cover diagonal h8, a1, to make the bishop g7 kind of stupid a bit. Yeah, at least to make it not that active. And honestly, I could have played, of course, something like bishop e3 after h6, but I think that it is also okay. So queen d2. Just targeting this guy on h6. I should be careful not to blunder something like, I don't know, knight f3. But I think it's highly unlikely. Right, now what to do? To bring the knight to d4, just to start with the h3, kind of covering g4 square. I think it makes sense. So let's start with the h3. Alright, now let's take here. I usually like this transposition because potentially, just potentially, my knight is slightly better than that bishop. Bishop definitely has no play here, has no perspectives, and this knight can be maneuvered to a better position. Of course, it's just a slight advantage, nothing more than that. Not maybe even an advantage. Like slightly more pleasant position. Okay, so now f2 is hanging. I have to cover it somehow. Let's try, say, rook e2. My opponent offered me a draw, but come on, it's just a starting position for this line. So we have just started, my friend, so it's too early. It's too early to take a draw. Let us bring another rook to e1. I think it's okay to have the rook here. Well, this bishop on f6 is very good in the sense of protecting e7, but at some point I will try to change this situation, just like bringing the knight to e4. That is the basic plan. Okay, now it's time to do something with this rook. Rook f5. Potentially this rook may be trapped here. Can I just trap it immediately? I don't think so. And there is also a threat of like playing a4. This threat I can prevent with playing queen to e4, but this gives the rook the e5 square. Huh. Not clear. Not clear what to do here, but let's try queen e4. I think it makes sense to fight with this a4 plan. And I have a feeling that I just misplayed this somehow. I don't like how my pieces are placed. Well, queen e5 is not that dangerous, of course. And now, for example, something like this should be interesting. Attacking a5. Alright, now let's put the rook on e4. Protecting it because it was hanging. Also controlling c4. Now I want to just take on a5. Alright, this looks funny. But how can I use it? Just c4? No, it doesn't work. Doesn't really work. Okay, let's put the queen on e8. At least active position. I can't do nothing here, so let's cover d3 square. Oops, sorry, just a blunder. Okay. Yeah, I was lucky in this game. My opponent played very decent chess. All right. Checkmate. Okay, so let's have a look at this in details. So queen to b6 was kind of surprising move for me. I'm not sure if I reacted with a correct moves. With the correct move, okay, takes here, c3 was natural, but after h6, yeah, maybe here, maybe bishop h4 is no longer that good. So maybe just bishop e3 was better. In this case, I kind of forced my opponent to go away with the queen. As we may notice, all these squares are controlled. So the queen has only one sensible square, like queen c7, going back slightly. And now I can play something like f3, maybe just limiting the knight, or maybe the same h3, but to have the bishop here, because if it remains on h4, the only way after that is just to take on f6, because otherwise the bishop is quite passive. So it really simplifies the position a lot. Here I have some options, all right? So I have more choice. Now after h3, let's say, very interesting plan for me, just to play a4, a5 maybe, to bring this pawn to action, to force this pawn probably go into a6, creating a weakness on b6. At the same time, after knight c4, bishop c4, queen c4 position is unclear to me, so I can take on a7, but black can easily take on d5, so maybe everything is fine for black here. So there are some tactical tricks like knight a5 or maybe knight e2, but I don't think they lead white anywhere. So maybe h3 is just too slow here. So white definitely has to deal with the threat of knight c4 now. Yeah, I have no idea. All right, so I played bishop h4. Let's have a look at this. Rook to e8. Yeah, here I definitely made a stupid move. h3 is too slow for sure. So knight c4 is what black can do if he wants at any moment. So I should be just good prepared for this somehow. No, I didn't play h3, I just played queen d2, right? Yeah, I played queen d2, kind of occupying the square, which should have been occupied with the knight after rook c4. So that is a typical maneuver, knight e2, knight e4. So what to do here, I have no idea. What could be the good move? I mean, useful move. a4 just weakens a lot, but maybe just a4. Who knows? Just a4. And then the idea is to play a5. Kicking this queen finally. And if knight c4, alright, I just take. I take on f6, takes on f6. And now I have this tempo solution. So knight e2 attacking the rook. Rook goes away somewhere to f4, let's say. I just play knight e4. Is it playable? Again, I have no idea because b2 is hanging. That's annoying. And I'm not sure I have tactics after that based on g3 attacking the rook, and if rook goes away, knight takes f6. So position remains unclear. I don't know if white wants to achieve something. White definitely has to search for a good move here after this rook to e8. Well, very good game. Thanks a lot. Very interesting fight, and in my opinion, a good food for thought if I want to improve my play in this line. All right, let's play king chase 4 r chase 3r, sorry. Come on, what am I talking about? Let's play. All right, e4. c5, Sicilian. Great. Let's play bishop e2. g6, shit, Dragendorf. Okay, so it's kind of forces me to repeat the line. So as you can see, I'm not guilty. This is just black playing this dragon pawn structures. Bishop d7 though. Alright, I just play knight b3. Knight c6. And now I guess just knight e5. I don't want to wait till black plays b5 or something. Just play knight e5 right away. So, what is going on here? Black is thinking of taking on d5 or probably doing something else, but I'm not sure that black has something better than taking on d5. I mean, this knight takes d5 will happen surely, sooner or later, because this knight on d5 is really annoying. So, there's like a program of actions for white, like knight goes to d5, then c3, covering diagonal, and then I try to do everything to force black to take on d5, e takes d5, e file opens up, and I have the play against e7 pawn, something like that. That's why I like this setup for white. Everything is clear and only black has to think of what to do. Rook e8. Alright, now let's bring the bishop to g5. Because if black doesn't react, I want to just take on f6 with the bishop, damaging the pawn structure. I mean, this pawns like d6, f6, f7 will make me happy. Bishop b6 kind of giving me a chance to do this if I want. So do I want? Let's see, bishop takes f6, e takes f6, and I'm not sure if I can achieve anything. Of course, I will be happy if black exchanges his dark squared bishop, but black is not forced to. So if I take with the knight, e takes f6 again is what is coming, and then d5 next move. Looks like Black will solve his problem. So maybe a4 is a better idea now. Just undermining this b5. Trying to create a weakness on the queen side. Trying to find at least the object of attack. So if b takes a4, rook takes a4 is something similar to what I've already played earlier tonight. Rook b8 is something different. So okay, now I take on b5. This pawn on b5 is my target. But b4 square should be protected somehow to make it a real attack. Okay, bishop f6, let's check it again. E takes f6, maybe it's still good for me, but I'm not completely sure. I can try something like queen d2 after that, but feels like I have something more than that. Don't know. Let's play queen d2, just to start with. Controlling b4 additionally, so I want to prevent b4 move, something like that. And now the knight goes to e5. Okay. Now I think if I want, I can take on f6. Pawn takes f6. And then knight goes to, I don't know, a5 or maybe d4. d4 looks like a square. Knight a5 is also logical, just covering c4 and creating a threat of just attacking the knight somehow. I mean the knight e5, and then knight goes to c6 gradually, occupying this very important square. Yeah, let's put the knight on a5. I know that it looks maybe not that cool at first glance, but I can't see the big problem with having the knight on a5 here. So I protect it. This knight is ready to occupy c6. If it is possible. I also can support this knight additionally with the help of b4 if I want at some point. Fixing the pawn on b5 is a weakness. Alright, let's see. Right, h5 doesn't really accomplish anything. Doesn't really weaken anything. Because I can't get to those weaknesses, I think. But maybe it makes sense for me to play something like h3, but this leads to bishop takes h3. On the other hand, after bishop takes h3, I will have f4, attacking the knight, and so on. Don't know. Yeah, let's play h3. I mean, it can't be terribly bad. If bishop takes h3, I will take on f6 first, and then I will play f4. The bishop on h3 will be hanging, the knight on e5 will be hanging, and once the knight goes away from e5, knight c6 will be possible. Very cool. But there is knight e5 first. Yeah, stupid play. Stupid play from white. This h3 is absolutely unnecessary, in fact. But okay. I played what I've played. Now it's time to make a decision. It's like... Okay, I'll go away to h1 first. Just to eliminate the possibility of queen b6 check. And now I definitely want to play f4. It will give me at least an exchange. But queen c8 just going away in advance. Right. Alright. It's time to make a decision. So let's play f4. Let's take. Now there is my target on c4. Can I attack it just straightforwardly with the rook a4? I think I can, if I want. There is also an option just to take on f6 first. I think it makes sense to damage the pawn structure this way. Now I have ideas like f5, but I don't think it gives me anything immediately, so I will start with rook a4. Right now I want to take c4. Looks like a delicious pawn. Now I don't want to give up this b2, but yeah, I have a chance to avoid it. So rook b4 takes here, takes f5, takes e8. Simplification. Okay, can I just simplify even more? Yeah, I guess I can. Started playing bullshit. And I have no time. This is an amazingly annoying thing. Okay, but let's try to make a progress somehow. Like with the checkmate, but there is no fucking checkmate. Sorry for that. Alright, there is check. At least, oops, bishop here. Oh shit! Bishop g8, I was too slow. Oh my god. My goodness. Yeah, that was bad. That was really bad. Yeah. That is amazing. That is just amazing. But okay. Was that? Yeah, that was casual, so I didn't lose my rating points, but come on, it's not really important. Yeah, position wasn't that clear. I mean, if we take a look at this with the knight and e5, even that after knight a5, I mean, I thought that should be somewhere close because there are so many holes like c6, b5, like possibility to take on f6 and so forth. So there should be something, but I didn't see a clear way. For example, if I after h5, which black played, start with the f4 move, like attacking the knight and intending to play knight c6, there is something like knight g4, and here I can play knight c6 in fact, so black has to start with something like taking on d5, I think, to be able to play this knight g4. Yeah, I guess something like this. So bishop d5, for example, if f takes c5, there is something like queen b6 check, but there is bishop e3. Maybe that's why I misplayed that, so I was just very bad in the sense of calculation. So there is nothing really dangerous in all this, right? So maybe, yeah, maybe just f4 right now. And the point is that if knight immediately runs away from e5, I have knight c6, so there is no queen b6 check. And if black takes on d5, I take on e5. And if black takes with the knight here, I think, yeah, maybe this way, in fact. So it takes on d5, now check. And if I go to h1, there is knight g4. Unclear, as I see that. It's unclear, definitely. So what can I do instead? I can play queen e3, but in this case there is also something like takes, and knight at g4. Again, unclear position, so the rook is hanging. Yeah, so maybe this knight e5. That's why I was starting doing some strange things like h3, king h1, trying to avoid this. Maybe king h1 immediately was better without playing this h3. I guess h3 was just too much, unnecessary. We can know the position, so king h1, just going away from that check. And then trying to play something like that. Don't know. This position looked very good as well. So here, just played f4, knight c4, took, rook a4. All right, f5, rook takes c4. Yeah, that was not very clear, but it felt like I'm much better. So takes, bishop d3, bishop e6. Yeah, of course, here I should have played something like, I don't know, knight e3 maybe. Maybe the way I played was also okay, but I simply didn't have enough time to make a good decision. That was a problem. So I started playing some strange moves, just creating one-move threats, like fighting with opponents one-move threats, and it looked like a complete mess in the time trouble. Yeah, but all right. In any case, interesting game. So let's play one more, and it will be probably the last one for today. There is Bryce Rogers. Let's play Bryce Rogers. And the next show will be tomorrow. It will be started almost the same way like today. So around 8 p.m. Central European time. Yeah, 8 p.m. or maybe 8:30. Just the best way to be notified is to subscribe to my YouTube channel and to subscribe to my Twitter account, because there I give notifications in advance. So you won't miss that, and you can find the nickname of mine on Twitter just next to the short link leading to my YouTube channel. So Master Ostrovsky is my Twitter account. Just find me there, subscribe, and you will be notified. Okay, if a6 here, I will just play bishop c4. If g6, maybe I will just play bishop e3. Because like playing the fourth game in a row with this dragon pawn structure, well, enough is enough, I mean. Just slightly tired of it. And there is also, yeah, just like Kramnik Student says, there is always Kramnik Student to notify. Great. Thanks a lot, my friend, for supporting me this way as well. Fuchs says subscribe per Kramnik Student. Cool. Very, very cool. That's really helpful. So Fischer saws in, but not the standard one, I mean with the bishop b3 or castling, but with the a4. It's kind of positional approach to play the same strategic idea. So White's main idea is to prepare f4, f5 at the proper moment, to open up this a2, g8 diagonal. In the vast majority of lines, it feels like White has nothing. And if Black comes up with the accurate order of moves, probably it's true. But it's tricky. In my opinion, it remains tricky. So I played this against Zoltan Almashi in the first Bundesliga weekend. And he actually saw that, well, probably for the first time. And I was kind of surprised. So the problems were not that simple to solve over the board. Fuchsia says, Andre, you could set up a personal Slack chat. What is a Slack chat? I don't really know. What is that? Slack chat, so probably I have to Google. Okay, e5, e5. weakens diagonal before my f4, f5 already. On the other hand, I have to make a decision. So I can play knight f5 here, and I think knight f5 is actually the most natural reaction to this. I have to make sure if I have just enough control over d5 after bishop f5 takes f5 and knight b4. I can put my knight on d5. The resulting position should be also quite good for white. I mean, there is usually just a possibility to go away to f3 or something like that, but then bishop goes to e6, so I would rather play knight to f5, slightly more aggressive. Slack.com. Nice chat. Like, what did I miss? Just got interrupted. You missed a loss. Damn. What's going on? Look, probably I just missed something, because I thought after 94 we'll have 97, and only now I just realized like knight takes e7 is possible for black, followed by d5. Shit, that's annoying. Okay, well, what else do I have? Knight to h6 is interesting, because if I take on e4, simply bishop takes f5, right? So knight h6, g takes h6, knight takes e4, f5 is not possible still because king is here, but king can go to h8, but then h6 is hanging. So in this case, I'm kind of pawn down, but position looks not that pleasant for black to play. Yeah, let's play knight h6. Yeah, just a pawn sacrifice as a result, but I didn't intend to play this. Just blundered. What is interesting, my opponent could have blundered as well this knight e7 move, and just a miracle that there is knight e7. There's also a possibility. Maybe my opponent just intended all this to happen on the board. Don't know. Let us see. So the question from Twy was like, why didn't knight e7 followed by knight e4? In this case, knight takes e7, and after knight takes e4, d5, again the fork. But maybe I missed something there. But it felt like black regains the piece. Yeah, that's why I decided to play this. Okay, bishop g5. Now I can take on d6. Kind of regaining the pawn, and this looks nice. But there is also knight takes g5, or even bishop takes g5, h takes g5, and queen to h5. This looks also terribly promising. Man, I have to make a decision here, and I don't know which one will be great. Everything looks great now. Okay, let's go and checkmate it. I don't know. Feels amazing, just like takes queen h5, knight g5, checkmate on h7. Yeah, g5 is hanging. Want to take it and checkmate on h7 or something like that. If this doesn't work, want to play rook d1 and grab this d6. There is also an interesting idea to play queen h6 with the idea of knight f6. A lot of holes in black's position, that's what I mean. Yeah. I start sounding like a very bad stand-up comedian. This is because I'm just completely tired, guys. Sorry for that. But it is nice to sound like a stand-up comedian when you're tired, right? It's better than sounding like a piece of crap. Knight takes h7 is possible now, right? I think this is what my opponent missed here. And the trick like queen h8 pinning my knight doesn't work because of queen takes g6. Yes. Great. Cool. I out-tricked my opponent in this game. Finally. Yeah, nice idea. I mean, this knight takes e4. Absolutely surprising to me. Because I was like 100% sure that knight e7 should win. But after knight e7, knight e4 and d5 position is not simple to evaluate. So here I saw that I have knight f6 if I want. And then after g takes f6 I have kind of pair of bishops. But I don't have the direct access to the king because bishop controls this g4, which is very important. This prevents me from playing like bishop h6, queen g4. And another problem for me that black very quickly gets to g6 with the knight. And then this pawns can start the movement, just squeezing my pieces. So I still think the white should be better, of course, because I just go away with the bishop, then undermine this central pawn with the f4. But I didn't feel like it was the best option. That's why I decided to play knight to h6 check. And after g h6, knight to a4. And well, here position is unclear, so definitely bishop g5 is bad. What to do instead? Don't know. Not to capture h6 100%. Sorry, not to give up h6, I guess. But it is also not clear how to do this. Because if king goes to g7, I think I can still play queen h5, and it's very hard to keep this pawn on the board. Maybe this position is already annoying. Maybe deserve attention to do something like this, but in this case I just take on h6, right? Yeah, rook is hanging. If rook goes away I can take on f7 if I want. Yeah, and I have some extra material, so yeah. But there is an interesting thing. Computer says knight e7 was the best. Knight e7, knight e4, d5. Oh, bishop c5, very nice. My goodness, yeah, bishop c5, very good. That was the best way. That was the best way to play. Very nice. Yeah, the point is that it's not possible to take my minor piece now. So if d takes c4, d takes c4, I just take the queen and take on e7 with the extra piece. And with the help of bishop c5, I create a threat of just taking the knight and taking d5 pawn. And that's it. Game over. So that is just the answer to our questions. And yeah, that is what I missed completely, and probably my opponent also missed that. So knight e4 doesn't work. So instead of doing it, computer suggests bishop takes f5. Of course, if you don't play knight e4, what should you do after knight f5 or moves like that? Of course, bishop takes f5. In which case, I wanted to take. And here I wanted to do what? To base my play on g4, g5 plan, or maybe just occupying d5 square. But again, computer suggests something like queen c8, okay, g4, knight goes to b4, bishop goes here, h6, something like that. But okay, it's a balanced position, but I have two bishops, and I think, well, it's slightly more pleasant to play something like this with white, but probably white doesn't have a lot. So maybe just a slight, tiny advantage, but that is exactly what you want to achieve out of the opening nowadays. It's very hard to find a clear advantage or something if your opponent plays more or less correct. All right, thanks a lot for being with me this Sunday. I wish you all the best tomorrow during the first weekday. And do not forget, Experimental Monday comes tomorrow as well. So be ready around 8 p.m. Central European time. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye.